Separated from the great continent Gondwana by a dislocation process, Madagascar has become a big island situated between the Indian Ocean and the Mozambique Channel since now 80 million years. At present, Madagascar is located in the intertropical zone between the African continent and India. This geographic situation grants the island with invaluable biodiversity richness. It is even classified as a mega-diversity country where more than 80% of faunal and floristry species are endemic. However, Madagascar is one of the most vulnerable countries in terms of climate hazards. The coastline is directly exposed to Alizé and received the most important rainfall with 3,500 millimeters per year. Tropical cyclones followed by great floods figure amongst the phenomena of natural disasters cracking down on the eastern part of Madagascar and triggering important damages. In 2014, 18 dead, 18,000 homeless, 2,300 displaced people, and more than 300 destroyed houses and public infrastructures were recorded in the district of Vohipeno and Ikungu. And there are 2,200,000 people who live in the southeastern region of Madagascar.
The water rose at 10 a.m. Our house was destroyed with all our furniture and the belongings, the rice, the covers, the pots. Everything was washed away. Now there is no rice for the kids and no pots to cook.
As for the southern part of the country, it is semi-desert with only 300 millimeters of rainfall per year. The zone is actually subjected to the El Niño phenomenon, and dozens of deaths have been recorded since the beginning of the year. More than 700,000 people are at present threatened by starvation in the southern region of the island. Tandavanala is an NGO based in the south and southeast regions of Madagascar since 2003. It is known for its assistance to vulnerable families through actions on sustainable development, especially in the southeast region. One of the NGO's governing values is to promote integrity according to the following Holy Scripture. Righteousness exalts a nation. Proverbs 14:34. This is in order to contribute to making the country emerge with prosperity. Tandavanala contributes highly in researching sustainable solutions for poor communities who continue to suffer from natural disasters.
According to our experiences of more than 10 years of intervention, we noticed that we cannot properly fight against poverty without addressing disaster and risk problems. Environmental approach can limit disaster consequences and then contribute to sustainable development.
The DRRSZE Disaster Risk Reduction and Community Sustainable Development Empowerment Project is an integrated actions initiative aimed towards the risk and disaster prevention in the southeastern region of Madagascar. It is financed by Kirk and ACTI with technical support from Eco Cooperation. A small-scale project has been implemented in the districts of Voipenu, located in the southeast coastal zone, and Ikungu, situated in the mountainous forest area. The NGO is aware that the flood that causes damage to the coastal zone downstream is the result of environmental degradation, particularly that of the vegetation cover in the upstream forest areas. The NGO's approach thus consists of accompanying the risk and disaster prevention in the coastal areas and, in the meantime, educating about the protection of the vegetation cover in the forest area. One of the fundamental problems of the intervention zone is its several types of isolation. No communication network, rough roads, and low levels of instruction. More than half of the population is still illiterate in the forest areas. With support from Kirk and ACTI, Tandavanala has created a community development approach based on dialogue and participation, putting human beings at the center of preoccupations. Empowering local risk and natural disaster management committees. Tandavanala started with training and revitalizing members of local communities for risk and natural disaster management in 10 rural communities from the 2 districts. What is a local committee for risks and natural disasters management? It is a committee elected at the lowest administrative constituency level and linked to the National Office for Risk and Disaster Management. The members sensitize and educate communities on risk and natural disaster management in order to avoid human loss and property damage when natural hazards occur. They also have different responsibilities, such as giving the population warning instructions on imminent hazards, preparing temporary shelters for disaster victims, distributing donations to victims, transmitting instructions related to sectors such as education, health, security, housing, and etc. Given the importance of these committees' tasks before, during, and after cyclones, Tandavanala supports them on 3 levels: capacity building, organization, and equipment. Each committee receives training on their roles and responsibilities. In all, 50 committees have been revitalized and are now functional, with more than 500 active members in 8 communes where Tandavanala has made interventions.
I'm Pascaline, President of IFANIREA's Risk and Natural Disaster Management Committee. Our role is to sensitize the population in case of natural disaster. For example, in case of flooding, we advise people to move higher to secured places. We also sensitize people on reforestation and soil protection. Our habitation is often flooded. When there is cyclone, the road is cut and we use a pirogue to move around. My house is situated at 5 meters high, but when water rises, only the roof remains inside.
And in order to better undertake their mission, The DRRSDE project has endowed them with equipment such as work uniforms, communication equipment, and various items. Training on soil defense and restoration in the mountainous forest areas. In collaboration with the committee's members, soil defense and restoration activities have been promoted in the mountainous forest areas. It is good to remember that due to watershed deterioration in upstream localities, downstream villages and farming in shallow coastal areas are often flooded, leaving the population with no shelter and no harvest. In order to offer sustainable solutions, Tanda Vanala technicians and community members carried out restoration activities, particularly at the Matitanana watershed. 12 showcase sites have been developed with the participation of villagers. This is in order to reduce erosion risks for the future. This year, more than 120,000 bursts of strains of anti-erosion plants, such as vetiver, have been planted. They will serve as protection for the watersheds against erosion caused by heavy rains. Vetiver roots can reach up to 3 meters and allow soil conservation even in case of excessive runoff. They also serve to improve the quality of the soil for income-generating activities. This part of land planning is one of the key sites. Vetiver is planted to protect this part of the road.
Here, we practice watershed management. We planted vetiver because it grows fast, protects the soil, and costless, thus affordable to farmers. This place is by the edge of the road and also by the river's shore. It is vulnerable to erosion. This road links three communes to Vuipen. It is for this reason that it must be protected against dangers. The land planning was done to prevent the communes bordering the corridor from being totally isolated.
Hundreds of bamboo and other anti-erosion plants are also grown on the shores of the Matitanana River to avoid the enlargement of the river, which may one day reach the village and the surrounding roads. This bamboo grows fast. It can reach 4 meters in only 3 or 4 months. And apart from its shore protection vocation, its trunk can be used as firewood and for house reconstruction in case of destruction by tropical cyclones. In 2015, a few hundred bamboos were planted as an effort. More land planning can be undertaken from 2018 and on. These bamboos were imported from India. Apart from using plants to protect watersheds, other types of young plants were also produced for agroforestry and agroecology. For this, 3 big plant nurseries were created to avail young plants to the population. One can find eucalyptus and acacia as construction wood and lumber. There are cash crops such as baby coffee trees and cloves and other plants for watershed management. There are 120,000 young plants at their nurseries, and they will be distributed to community members.
Here we have Tandavanala's nursery set up as part of the implementation of the Risk and Natural Disaster Management Project. At present, in the nursery, there are 30,000 seedlings and 10 species. Some will be used for agroforestry, for example moringa, coffee trees and acacia. There are also seedlines for construction wood and mostly for soil management.
In order to better adapt to the changes in cropping calendars due to seasonal disturbance related to climate conditions, Tandavanala has also offered to groups of local communities the use of an improved variety of rice called Primavera, which is a short season variety that can be harvested in 3 months only. Primavera is productive even during dry season and allows farmers to harvest before the flood periods. This contributes to solving food security problems occurring after natural disasters. To ensure a continued education and awareness campaign, one of the project's objectives is to better accompany the population in planning during and after cyclones. Based on the Communication for Development approach, various activities have been planned and implemented. They were defined in a joint communication plan on risk and natural disaster management, to which local authorities, various associations, and various sectors such as education, health, and environment have actively participated. About 30 radio broadcasts were distributed to radio stations operating in the intervention zone. Tandavanala has also initiated collaboration with the National Direction for Education by integrating primary school pupils in sensitizations on risk and natural disaster management. Here, the targets are parents and sensitizers, not only technicians, but also their own children. To achieve this, sketch and awareness design competitions were organized in schools in municipalities usually flooded by rising water during cyclone periods. More than 150 school children in 5 communes of Vohipenu district were chosen and mobilized to reinforce the community awareness campaign.
When the red flag is up, everyone should stay at home, as it means that the cyclone is already entered in our region. Really, do not go out in order to avoid disasters.
From darkness to continuous light. And finally, one added value brought by the small-scale project, generously supported by Kirk and Acti, is the sustainable empowerment of the community members. Given the high rate of illiteracy in the region, the project had to plan for a literacy campaign for poor and illiterate people. The activity's objective is to improve the population's instruction level through setting up groups in villages and training sessions given by local educators specialized in adult literacy. Basic courses such as reading, writing, counting, and calculations are given.
And so we now and rely on the love God has for us. God is love. 1 John 4:16.
Yes. 180 illiterate persons were recorded before the project, the majority of whom never attended primary school for lack of resources and isolation in the area. At present, they are literate and educated. Rahuvasua Isabel is one of those poor people who did not attend school during her childhood. She is a farmer. Before, she could not read nor write and was very much afraid when she had to go to administrative offices because she did not understand the instructions posted in the offices. Now, she's out of this darkness and can speak, as the Bible says. One thing I know, that, whereas I was blind, now I see. John 9:25.
Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God, and everyone who loves is born of God and knows God.
Like Rahuvasua Isabel, many other instructed people can now contribute to sustainable development activities and to risk and natural disaster management in a very efficient way. Nowadays, a large number of local authorities and people are still requesting the continuation of literacy campaigns in the southeast region of Madagascar.
Certainly, through these projects, we have touched hundreds of households. We have also brought some women, sometimes heads of households, from darkness to light, and now they can effectively contribute to the sustainable development activities and disaster and risk management, and this is a real positive change.
Thanks to the DRRSDE project, which has started at the end of 2015. More than 1,200 households, or about 8,000 people, were touched by sensitization activities and will be able to progressively and successfully address any potential risk or natural disaster. Despite the abundance of rains, which caused flooding this year, the project area has recorded no victims.
Eco-cooperation in Madagascar has supported the local NGO CMP Dandavanal since 2006. We are willing to continue supporting this local NGO because the results of projects we've implemented together are very promising. This very exciting DRR project financed by ECO and Kerkinaxi has started on October 2015 and will be ended on July 2016. As we have seen on this video, many things have been done but still much to be done again, especially in terms of scaling up, because needs of communities based on the rural area on the southeast in Madagascar are not reached yet. So we are very pleased to invite you to join us on this very good and humanitarian challenge. Thank you.
Following the recent political crisis that has lasted for more than 5 years, the poverty rate remains high in Madagascar. And at this time, the El Niño impacts are still alarming, especially in the southern part of the island. Therefore, it is essential to both consolidate the positive change in the coastal zone and initiate emergency actions in the south. This is certainly a new challenge for Solidary Sustainable Development.